There's two things I really love: Denver, where I live, and movies. So today we're going to talk about the best movies that were filmed in Denver. What's up guys, Lewi Gault here, welcome to the channel. As always, if you haven't been here before, we usually talk about Denver and the real estate world and all that good stuff, but today we're going to be talking about movies because I love movies, and we're going to talk about which movies that were filmed in Denver, or at least in Colorado, are my favorite. So if you haven't done already, go ahead, subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, do all that stuff, and we will get right into my favorite movies that were filmed in Denver or surrounding areas in Colorado. Now, a quick caveat here: these are the top 15 movies that I like that were filmed in Denver or the surrounding areas, in no particular order really. Just right now, if I was to put them on, if you were to put them all in front of me and say, hey, which ones you want to watch, this would probably be my 15 to number 1 and go through it like that. So no judgment here. Don't judge me on what my number 1 is or my number 2. You'll probably see my taste in movies as we go through this, but here we go. Jumping in right into number 15, it's Any Which Way But Loose. That's right, the classic with Clint Eastwood and his little orangutan buddy. Clint Eastwood is a truck driver, but he's also a street fighter and fights a bunch of stuff. His country singer girlfriend goes missing, and him and his orangutan buddy go all across and try and find her. Three main places that this movie was filmed was Denver, Aurora, and Georgetown, which is just up I-70, a really cool little town to stop into if you've never been here before. Next up, number 14 is Blades of Glory. This is one of the dumbest movies ever, but it was filmed, majority of it, in the Pepsi Center in Denver, where the Colorado Avalanches play, the ice hockey team. There's a huge ice rink they put out with the basketball and stuff like that as well, but the ice rink, they shot most of it in there. It stars Will Ferrell and John Heder. They are kind of rivals in the ice skating world, and then they find a loophole, team up to do some other stuff. Definitely worth checking out if it's good for a laugh. And speaking of having a good laugh, number 13, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I only saw this last year, believe it or not, for the first time ever. I didn't see this in Scotland growing up. We didn't kind of get this. So I saw it for the very first time last year, and it's kind of weird, man, but it's really funny. I enjoyed it with Chevy Chase. He wants to have like a perfect Christmas with his family, and he goes to all extents to try and have that, and it's just kind of madness. But it was filmed, a majority of it was filmed up in Breckenridge, actually, which is about a couple hours out of Denver. Beautiful ski town resort, definitely worth going checking out Breckenridge. Next up, number 12 is The Prestige, featuring two really good actors, Hugh Jackman and one of my favorites, Christian Bale, who is Batman and does all the other stuff as well. This one's about illusionists and try and find out who's like the supreme magician or illusionist or whatever it is. It's a pretty cool movie, worth checking out for sure. Shot in Telluride, Durango, and the Silverton Railway Line. So 3 locations in Colorado that it was filmed. Check it out. Next up, number 11 is Furious 7. Fast and the Furious 7. I don't know why they just changed it to Furious and the 7. Whatever. Not usually my kind of movies. I don't know. I just never really got into them. But this one's alright. It's got The Rock in it and Paul Walker. I think this was his last one before he passed. Anyway, Furious 7, car chases, all that fun stuff. But there was a bunch of scenes shot in Woodland Park and Pikes Peak Mountain. So some pretty cool scenic views of Colorado in that movie. Check it out, but you're probably not going to watch it again. I don't know why it beat the other ones so far. Anyway, Furious 7. Check it out. The next one though, number 10, is an absolute classic, Over the Top, with Sylvester Stallone. You gotta love this movie. He's a truck driver, but he's got like a snooty kid who's in like military school. He yanks him out of military school, takes him across, and he arm wrestles a bunch of people. It's just like it sounds, exactly the way I described it. That's all you're watching is arm wrestling and a kind of silly story. And it was filmed in Ouray in Colorado. I'll put that on the map so you guys can see where that is, but worth checking out. Sylvester Stallone, if you watch it, he does that technique where he takes everyone over like that. He's the best. Alright, number 9, fairly obvious one, Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead. Andy Garcia, pretty cool movie. He is trying to get out of being a criminal, trying to leave that life behind, but as always, You can't just leave it behind. These things catch up with you. So a really good movie. There are a bunch of scenes in Union Station in Denver before it was all revamped and stuff like that. So if you watch that movie, you'll see some shots of Union Station. And if you go back now, you'll see the complete remodel and everything that's done there. Really interesting to look back a bit of history in Denver there. So things to do in Denver when you're dead. Dope movie. Alright, coming in at number 8 is The Magnificent Seven. The remake, of course. The original is good, but the remake, The Magnificent Seven with Denzel, you can't go wrong with Denzel. Put him in a movie and you're good to go with it. This movie is all about pew, pew, gunslinging, cowboys and all that good stuff. There's like bad guys looking for gold and they're trying to seize ownership of this town and all that stuff, and Denzel and his crew of misfits come in and pew pew save the day. So this movie's dope. It was filmed in Ridgway in Colorado, so you see all those like huge plots of land and stuff like that. Ridgway, Colorado, beautiful place to check out. Alright, at number 7 we've got The Hateful Eight. Good movie. Quentin Tarantino, you can't go wrong with him. You've got Kurt Russell, you've got Samuel L. Jackson, who are bounty hunters. And they have to stop and get shelter for the night because it's such a blizzard, and then all this craziness like ensues in this like little cabin. Really good story, really well done by Tarantino. And this was shot in Telluride in Colorado. Again, Telluride, super famous for a lot of like races, bike rides, stuff like that. Beautiful place to visit, so check it out. Telluride, Colorado, that's where The Hateful Eight was filmed for the most part. Alright, coming at number 6 now. There was only a part of this filmed in Denver, but it's a quality movie. In the Line of Fire, again with Clint Eastwood. Classic movie. He failed to save JFK, or at least that's the premise. You have to watch it. But the footage that they took with like the cars and like the travelcade and stuff, he's like going with the, you know, the suit on and everything, running beside the cars, making sure there's all security. That was filmed in Denver Civic Center Park, where the Capitol building is, and you turn the corner and you go right past the park. So they kind of shot that all there. Really, really cool to see Denver as always in the background of any movie. Everything else wasn't filmed in Denver, but that part was, so it's on the list. Number 6. Okay, number 5, Independence Day. Remember this one? Classic. Back in the day, like I think when I was growing up, there wasn't really any, well, there was aliens and there was stuff like that, but like for a while there wasn't any movies made about like alien invasions and stuff like that and like the end of the world. So when Independence Day came out, this one blew up. Will Smith, you got Will Smith like punching aliens in the face, you got the president flying fighter jets and shooting things and all that. It's a great movie, really awesome movie, and there was a lot of it shot in Colorado Springs at Peterson Air Force Base. They give them permission to go in and do all the filming there. All the shots you see of like any kind of military kind of bases and stuff, it was all done there. So really, really cool to see that again. Colorado Springs is actually been the number 4 city to live in the United States right now, with all the polls and a bunch of articles that have come out. So definitely worth a visit if you've never been to the Springs before. Check it out. You probably won't be able to get onto the Air Force Base, but you know, you can watch the movie and live vicariously through Will Smith and all the other people in the movie. So Independence Day, classic. Alright, we're getting into the top 4 here, and you know what, I love all these movies, so I'm not going to apologize for anything. Number 4, Dumb and Dumber. It's just quality, isn't it? It's the best. Jim Carrey at his like peak when he had all those movies coming out, and Jeff Daniels as well, obviously playing Harry. It's just, when this came out, it was just hilarious, so fresh and funny, and the way they kind of interacted and stuff was just genius. And as I'm sure you remember, they drove the moped, the little scooter, in Aspen, Breckenridge, Copper Mountain, and Pikes Peak. So 4 places. Going up I-70 West, you go up to the mountains and check all those places out. So Dumb and Dumber, classic, man, absolute classic. The town is that way. Next up, another legend. Die Harder was Die Hard 2. John McClane, back at it. He's just got over that saga at Nagatomi Tower, and now he's in the airport and he's waiting for Holly, his missus, to get off the plane so they can do Christmas together. And what happens? Frickin' terrorists take over the airport. Unbelievable. And he's caught up in all these shenanigans, and it's up to John McClane. He has to save the day because the police can't do it and the army can't do it because they're corrupt. They come in and it's a big nightmare. So as you all probably know, because you've probably seen it, if you've not, go and watch it right now. Pause this video, don't even watch any more of this before you watch that movie. All of the airport scenes are actually filmed in an airport that doesn't exist anymore, but it was the Stapleton Airport, which is now Central Park, the neighborhood. Used to be the Stapleton neighborhood, they changed the name, but there used to be an airport there, and you can still see the airport tower, and there's a restaurant right there now at the tower that you can go and eat in, but it was filmed there before Stapleton was developed. So it's really, really cool to kind of drive through, because it's just like 5 minutes from my house. So you drive past all the time, and you're like, that's where John McClane saved the day. Set fire to that plane. Amazing, so good. So filmed at Stapleton Airport, and 2 other places that they filmed as well were Breckenridge and Mead. So 3 places in Denver and the surrounding areas, but Stapleton Airport, so cool to drive by and just know that it all happened there. Yippee-ki-yay. Number 2, might be a bit of a curveball here, but one of my favourite movies of all time, Cliffhanger, Sylvester Stallone. I remember when this came out. I've got a fear of heights. I don't like heights at all, so I was watching it and my hands were proper sweating. I know that first scene when he's like going across to get that lady and stuff, and then the teddy bear falls down. Oof. Got me going there. The old Sly Stallone, killing it. Cliffhanger was filmed in the Rocky Mountains in Durango, so most of the movie was all filmed there. There was some stuff done in Hollywood and stuff, obviously in the studios, so a ton of it was done in Durango and the Rocky Mountains. If you've never seen it before, a bunch of dummy criminals end up in a plane crash and they lose like $100 million. So they enlist Sly Stallone's character and another couple of people to help them find it, because they can get all about the mountains. And it's an absolute quality movie, really, really good. I love that movie a lot. Some really good characters in it as well. So check out if you haven't seen it before. If you haven't seen it before, you've got some other problems. You have to have seen this movie. If you haven't, though, go and check it out. Cliffhanger at number 2. And coming in at number 1, an absolute classic, one of the best movies of all time, in my humble opinion, is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Now, I'm a huge fan of Indiana Jones movies, but this one's extra special because it starts when he's super young, and then it goes all the way, and he's searching for the Holy Grail, and learns that another archaeologist was looking for it but got lost, and it turns out that it's his dad, who's played by Sean Connery, Sir Sean Connery, the living legend from Scotland. He's his dad, and they go through all these shenanigans. They're trying to find the Holy Grail and all this stuff, and there's a bunch of stuff happening, and traps and booby traps and all this good stuff, and it's phenomenal. It's just the best. It's such a good movie. Now, this movie was filmed in a bunch of locations in Colorado, including Alamosa, Cortez, Pagosa Springs, and the Cumbres and Toltec Railroad in Antonito. So a bunch of places that it was filmed in Colorado. Really, really cool landscape. That big train bit at the start when he's super young and he gets on the train and he falls into the thing of snakes and all that stuff. That was all done here in Colorado. So amazing movie. I love that. You know, tomorrow that might not be number 1, but today it is, just because I'm reminiscent of my past, I guess. So there you go. That is my top 15 movies that were filmed. I know I said Denver, but Colorado in general, that were filmed in Colorado. And yes, I know they weren't all filmed exclusively, completely 100% in Colorado. A lot of it was done out of state as well, or back in Hollywood, whatever. But there are key elements to each of these movies that were done in Denver or Colorado and the surrounding areas. So there you go. So I hope you enjoyed my top 15 movies that were filmed in Denver or in Colorado. If you have movies that I forgot about, drop them in the comments below and let's talk about it. If you think my top 15 is absolute rubbish, then drop that below as well. Feel free to dig in hard to my movie choices and go ahead and subject me to ridicule, but those are my ones and I'm sticking to them. We'll be back next week with another video about Denver and more about the real estate market and not movies this time. So I will see you next week. If you haven't done so already, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you then.